Good morning. Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. This time talking about, episode 10 of The Sandman. This brings us to a close. The series 1 of The Sandman. Imagine that this was all we were ever going to get. This would be the metaphysical firefly of, Sandman. This would be it. This would be all we ever got. Except, of course, it's been watched by 70 million people around the world. It would be just madness for this to be the only season. Yes, there's a setup for where we're going next. With Lucifer having plans. So, hopefully, there'll be more Sandman. Looking at the exciting and largely spurious world of Twitter, there is talk that there will be more Sandman. I'm very happy about that. So, let's discuss episode 10. The problem with the Sandman... No, not problem. One of the things worthy of mentioning of the Sandman is that when there's a battle with the big bad, Morpheus versus the Corinthian, it's chat. It's a conversation. And that's impressive. That's worthy of note. That is something we need to look at, something we need to develop, because you won't get that elsewhere. Well, possibly in Doctor Who. A discussion about your real motive, your place in the universe, that's what the Sandman's about on many, many levels. It's not just, he's the baddie, must be destroyed, she's the baddie, must be stopped, all that business. No, this is bigger. Yes, the business with the dreaming and the children and all of that, there's lots of seeds being planted for future stories, which is great, but it still felt very, very much cleaned up. But there are differences. Tiny differences. But I don't know if I'm misremembering something. Because there was something in my head about Fiddlers Green that's just not here. And I don't know if it's here or if it's something I've remembered wrong. The memory cheats after all. Fiddlers Green, the place, is supposed to be a fictitious thing where you have to explain it. Now, it would have been something that you have to fill for the audience. Perhaps it's a Brucey bonus for people who've read the comic. Imagine a retired and ancient mariner. They put an oar over their shoulder and they walk off into the countryside. And the point where somebody says, "What's that on your shoulder?" they know they're far enough away from the sea to never have to think of the sea again. Now, obviously, that's madness because you've got things like coracles, which are further inland, or boats, pleasure boats. So, but as a story, it's just lovely. And it's that point where the mariner knows they're far enough away from the sea, they go, "I'm retiring here." And that's Fiddler's Green. An idyllic place. Which is totally what happens. Stephen Fry turning into a bunch of greenery is something that will stay with most people. Morpheus has evolved, or is evolving, and that's the point. It's not that he has changed, it is that he's changing. The dream exists because of us, but we exist because of the dreaming. It is reciprocal. And important. And you know what? This series has made me feel, it's made me feel for a start, but it's made me feel better. It's made me think, it's made me look at the person that I was back in the 90s and the person I am now. And not a lot of series would do that. The point of Doctor Who is to make you feel like you did when you were 7, when you were watching it. And perhaps that's what's happening here. This is making me remember the person I could have been when I was in my 20s, when I thought I could be someone, as opposed to just being someone, which are different. Have I said this before? That's not what this is about. I'm supposed to be talking about how great the Sandman was, and it was brilliant. The end of the Corinthian, desires, plans, the threats at the end, the way that it's all structured. Unity Kincaid. all beautifully constructed. I'm sure I know her from something else that isn't EastEnders. I wonder if it's a Torchwood Big Finish. Possibly the one set in Soho. Possibly not. But either way, it's all been gorgeous. I'm so glad that they didn't go down the HBO route of just randomly putting in topless people for no reason. Although there was the odd bit of nudity, but you know what I mean. It was needed for the plot. So, what I'm saying is, was The Sandman one of the single greatest bits of television I've ever experienced? Yes. Just yes. The effects were exquisite. The storyline was brilliant. It stayed as true to the source material as I could possibly ever have hoped. And yet, so many new people, so many new fans have just been exposed to this. The Sandman doesn't just belong to us anymore. It never really did. It belongs to everyone. So welcome to the exciting world. When I recently visited my parents' house, I found my old t-shirt collection. Collection, you say? Well, let's put it this way. It was the top half of an entire wardrobe. Now, admittedly, I'm not the size I once was, so I will be getting rid of them, but there's a history there. And I found at least 3 original Sandman t-shirts, and I was going to show you them here, but I just don't have the time. The Sandman ran through everything that was me, on a level I wasn't even aware of, because it spoke to me. Because the Sandman speaks, doesn't fight, doesn't sometimes use a weapon. Yes, the weapons of the sand and the mask and the gem, they're there. But the fight at the end was just the Sandman being disappointed with the Corinthian. Yes, the Sandman did threaten Desire, which was great. Oh my God, how good is Desire? Brilliant. All perfect. So, if you've just been here for my reviews on the Sandman, thank you for viewing. There's lots of stuff where I talk about other programs, audio, podcasts, or even this lot. Either way, until next time, if you decide to stay, be seeing you.